next is replacing all this front sheet metal with the Cage Kit's front tube kit. The first thing you have to do is cut the front of the car off, which when you think about it, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, that's sort of like a big deal. It sounds scary. But the way that the kit is designed, you basically cut right at the strut tower here, down to the frame rail, and then cut across. So you leave the front two frame rails and you get rid of the factory radiator support, all of the front bumper mounting, and pretty much just everything up here gets replaced with the tube kit, and it shouldn't be that big of a deal. So I'm excited to get to it. So here we go. First things first, make sure you wear some safety equipment. My mom always said God only gave you two eyes. So you gotta get some heat waves and you can protect your two eyes. A new blade. They're cheap. If you use some crazy blade that's all bent, all your cuts are gonna be crappy. So just get a new blade. Obviously mine is a cordless one, but a corded one will do the same thing. So here we go. Just that easy. So I'm trying to do this I'm trying to do this so I can get this off in one piece. I have another FC that was hitting the front, so I'm trying to save this stuff because I think I want to put it on the other car. I should probably just get a tube kit for that car too, but the other car I'm just trying to put back together so it's at least a complete car. It's just, this is kind of smashed in on my other car, so I feel like if I cut all this off, and maybe I can salvage it for the other car. But that means I'm trying to cut this in one piece rather than, you know, I could slice it up in 10 different pieces and it would be a little bit probably easier to do that, but I'm going to try to do this in one piece. One thing I didn't mention is I'm going to take some measurements from the strut towers here forward to the headlight mounting bolts, and then I'm also going to go diagonal from here over to there, and same there over to here. What that's going to do is when I go to put this in, just make sure that, because these are the headlight mounting bolts on the tube kit, so just make sure that those are going to be kind of in the same spot. There is a little bit of adjustment with the headlights, but it'll be a whole lot better if those measurements are really close, and then when you go to put the hood on, your headlights are going to line up. So what I got is from hooking the tape measure on the bolt on the shock tower, going forward to the center of the bolt hole, the inside bolt hole is 19.5, and then going from, again, hooking the tape measure on the strut bolt going over to the inside one is 41 7/8 full, or 41 and 15/16. That's that. So those are my measurements. And there you have it. Front end's off. These plates get mounted to your strut tower. There's some nutserts in them, and this is what basically how the whole front stuff all bolts together, which is kind of cool. But these plates get welded in. So like I said before, it's always best to trim, always have to trim rather than trim too much. So what I see here is for this to go where it needs to go, the nutsert hits right here. So I just marked off where the nutserts are, there, there, and there. So we need to clearance that and then drill some holes for the nutserts for that plate to, you know, to hopefully sit as flush as it needs to sit in place right here. So my issue is for this to sit flat, it has to go in still quite a bit. This is the left side frame rail. Just cleaned up, you know, ground out all the spot welds and pulled everything off that was on this side. This, obviously, there was a piece that came down like that. That just got cut flat and cut across. You know, it looked just like this, but on this side. So cut that off. And for right now, I'm just leaving this little bit of structure here, mainly just to bolt a plate to, so I can build the bash bar off the front of that. But to do the front tube kit there, that's what needs to happen to the front frame rail. I'm just finishing up this side here. I just need to finish grinding these out and then, you know, trim this off. You know, there's just a couple little spot welds in there and this will come right off. I absolutely recommend you get yourself a set of transfer punches, not just for this project, but for a million different things. But, you know, all it is a punch. And there's different sizes. So like obviously here, you know, you're gonna go into the hole and then punch it, and then you can take this off and see where the hole is, you know. And it's just a way to make sure that you're absolutely centered. So with doing these, you have to do the sides first because there's a bit of a gap here. So you need to do the sides, and then you can slide this piece in and then do the top. So that's what needs to happen. did it again. God, the gloves are literally right here. The tops of my feet and my hands and my legs are all burns. I'm just gonna cut with the cutoff wheel, just like a little slot here. So these guys, when it slides in, will be able to clear. So I can literally just push straight in. So I only need to take just a little bit off this. And like I said, I'm not too worried about the structure of the frame rail because this is actually replacing, once this goes in and is welded, it's gonna be stronger. So if you need to trim out whatever you gotta trim out to make this work, it's not gonna make any difference at all. Just that little slot should give the nutser plenty of room to just be able to slide in. Beautiful. So that is perfect. It's a perfect fit. I've spent some time cleaning up these frame rails and getting rid of all of the, factory tabs and stuff. And after doing that, all of this stuff kind of just fell into place. Obviously there's going to be a little bit more trimming that needs to happen here. I haven't really done much of any trimming on this side. But the one thing I can say is this at least kind of gives you your distance, So you pretty much put these plates right up to the those front plates. There's a bit of adjustment here, but I think the thing to do is going to be, get this pretty close. Put these, kind of where they need to go. Mark there. And then those plates can go in. And then from there, it's just gonna be a matter of continuing to trim back a little bit in order to allow this to lay where it needs to. At first, it definitely looks like it sits at the angle that the shock tower is, whatever that angle is that it tips back. At first, I wasn't sure if they were gonna end up sitting level or whatever they were going to do. So regardless, like I said, there's a little bit more trimming, but this is all pretty simple stuff. Bang, bang. When you slice this inner fender off, it does separate the frame rails here. So you need to weld this frame rail back up. And that's kind of it. You're gonna have to clearance for the nutsert, and then these holes are for the nutserts also, to get the plate to go on. All of this front tube stuff is pretty well mocked up. This stuff is where it's gonna be. I final welded these plates here because I know that that's where they're gonna go. There is a little bit of adjustment I still need to do for here to get these plates exactly where they need to be. But for the most part, it's really close. I just need to do a little bit more trimming up here to get these to fit in there real nice. And the front is all set. What you want to do is have this plate completely flat to the shock tower. When you look down from the top, you can kind of see the frame rail is out just a little bit. So you pretty much need to grind there's like a little, I don't know, this is where like the frame rail and the strut tower all kind of come together. Just kind of grind through all the layers of metal until you get to this sheet metal for the strut tower itself. And that's when you know you've gone far enough, and just keep checking. It looks like it's lined up and fitting great, but it actually needs to come this way. The frame rail needs to be ground back just a touch. Weld with the welder off. Sure. Tried it a couple times, but doesn't usually work out. Say again? Where do you have to tape? The drawer that says tape, or the one that's right next to it.
As unmean as that is.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to be a jerk.
That's just like...
Whole front of this thing is done. We steel it. It looks really great. All the front tube stuff came out so good. It's awesome how this stuff all just bolts in. That does it for the front tube kit. I'm very excited that I bought it. It went together pretty easy. With any of this stuff, it just takes a little bit of thinking, and I feel like anybody could kind of do it with just some basic tools. So anyways, I hope this video helped. If it didn't and you have any questions, I guess you could comment below, and I'll try to, I don't know, answer your questions. Thanks.